Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, Prime Minister of the Trinidad and Tobago, Senator the Honorable Paula Gopi-Schoon, Minister of Trade and Industry, Trinidad and Tobago, His Excellency Peter Cavendish, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary, Deodat Maharaj, Executive Director, Caribbean Export Development Agency, Dr. Hyginus Leon, President of the Caribbean Development Bank, Dr. Carla Barnett, Secretary General, CARICOM, Annette Mark, President, Caribbean Association of Investment Promotion Agencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, government officials, investors, private sector leaders, members of the media, staff and leadership of the Caribbean Export Development Agency, ladies and gentlemen all, good morning and welcome to the official launch of the Caribbean Investment Forum 2022 under the theme Building a Smarter, Greener Caribbean. And I'm sure we can all agree that this is a theme, it's a topic worth exploring. For those of you who may not know me, I am Dr. Terry Carell-Reid. I am at your service, pleased to serve you in the capacity of host over the next hour and a half. Now, the reason why I said good morning, good afternoon, good evening, of course, depending on where you're tuning in from, is because we understand that our registrants are diverse, multicultural, multidisciplinary. And I just want to acknowledge some of the territories that I understand some of you registrants are from. And you can certainly go ahead and drop it in the chat. We have Dutch speakers all the way from Sweden, Switzerland to Suriname and Curacao. So we say Goedemorgen Morgen, and to my Curaçaoans in particular, Bombini. We have registrants from Haiti, France, and Belgium. So we say bonjour, bienvenue, c'est un plaisir. And for the Haitians, Kijan Ouye. And I also noticed that we have registrants from Ecuador, Peru, la República Dominicana. We say buenos días, bienvenido, es un placer tenerle con nosotros. We have persons from Germany, Romania, Ghana, Nigeria, UK, USA, Canada, the UAE, and of course, the islands of the Caribbean, wherever you are tuning in from. Thank you so very much for joining us. So let us put some things into context. The last 2 years have been brutal for all of us globally. And interestingly, the two words that were declared words of the year were pandemic and pivot, respectively. I suppose it's because I'm a citizen of a small island developing state why the word resilient or resilience stood out the most to me. It was evident and apparent that the countries, the regions that managed to create resilient sectors, resilient economies, resilient ecosystems were the ones that created resilient nations and by extension, regions. And that is the reason why we are here. The Caribbean Investment Forum 2022 is brought to you by the Caribbean Export Development Agency in support of the European Union. And it is important to them because they help to build resilient economies, resilient Caribbean to be specific. And so with this investment forum, what we want to do is have great conversations, high-level conversations, and invite all key stakeholders to showcase, highlight all the bankable investment opportunities that exist right here in the Caribbean. We're looking at 4 major sectors: agri-tech, because food security is important, renewable energy, digital business, technology, innovation, e-commerce, and we're looking at transportation as well as logistics. Certainly can't wait to dive into it. And so first, with opening remarks, we have Deodat Maharaj, Executive Director, Caribbean Export Development. Please make him welcome.
Thank you so much, Master of Ceremonies. You did an absolutely brilliant job. Honorable Minister, Your Excellency, Ambassador Peter Cavendish, Franca Costello, Chair of InvestET, members of the media, participants, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good night. I am not multilingual as our Master of Ceremonies. I will stick to English, but very impressive indeed, our Master of Ceremonies. I would like to welcome you warmly to the launch of the inaugural and exciting Caribbean Investment Forum, scheduled for Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago, the Twin Island Republic, over the period 8th to the 11th of November 2022. This promises to be the largest gathering of businesses since March 2019, or since the dawn of the COVID-19 pandemic. and to the best of my recollection, the largest gathering of businesses in the Caribbean for a very long time. I would really like to thank our partners, the Honorable Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Minister of Trade and Industry, the Government of Trinidad and Tobago, the Caribbean Development Bank, our close partner, the European Union, Republic Bank Limited, Ernst & Young, the CARICOM Secretariat, Draper Startup House, Thoughtful Agency Incorporated, and of course, our allies and partners at the Caribbean Association of Investment Promotion Agencies. The fact that these organizations, who are at the forefront of development and industry in our region, are partnering with us in this exciting initiative provides eloquent testimony on the importance of steering investments our way to create jobs and opportunity for our Caribbean people. Nonetheless, I really think it is important to recap why are we doing this initiative. This is because we at Caribbean Export clearly recognize that given the challenges we face as a region, ranging from high debt burdens to climate vulnerability, that business and investment have an absolutely critical role to play in driving the transformation of our region. At the Caribbean Export Development Agency, we are about advancing an agenda that puts us not at the periphery of the development debate, but at driving a transformational agenda for our region, creating a truly resilient Caribbean and jobs and opportunity for our people. Indeed, the last 2 years have demonstrated to us more than ever that building resilience must be the top priority of our region. The COVID-19 pandemic placed enormous stress on our economies and societies across this Caribbean of ours. One clear recognition has been that business and investments have a vital role to play in creating much needed jobs and opportunities for our people. However, at the same time for us at Caribbean Export, it is crystal clear that we need to have a forensic focus on sectors that can drive and advance this transformation. Consequently, the priorities for this Caribbean Investment Forum would be on sectors that can truly advance this transformation. We heard earlier from our Master of Ceremonies on some of these sectors. I would like to recap as well that the first area is in response to our food insecurity and the need to boost agriculture. AgTech, or leveraging technology in agriculture, is one of our priority themes. We must be food insecure, but at the same time, create jobs and opportunity for our farmers and for our young people in the agricultural sector, where you can earn a wonderful livelihood as a business person. So we need to transition and move away from the notion that farming is an activity that's for people 55 years and over, but one where there are immense opportunities in the region with the right investments to create much needed jobs for our people. The second area of importance for us is the critical need for our region and businesses in the region to enter the digital world. Hence, boosting investments in the areas of e-commerce, technology, and digitalization are absolutely critical. Thirdly, being one of the most climate vulnerable regions on the planet, a green economy transition for us is not an option. It is truly an imperative. The ILO and the Inter-American Development Bank did a study, and one result of that study is that they estimated or projected that a green economy transition in the Caribbean would result in the creation of an additional 400,000 jobs. Hence, our priority on this green economy transition, and again, to return to the theme of creating jobs and opportunity for our people. And the fourth area, obviously, is transportation. Because to function as one Caribbean, we need to have easier transportation and transportation links. but the state cannot continue to carry the burden of providing much needed transportation. Hence, the critical importance of steering investments our way to boost intra-Caribbean transportation. And these sectors, certainly I and we at Caribbean Export believe, can help drive transformation. And we are really delighted that these well-established and highly recognized and credible partners, they share this cogent and compelling vision with us at Caribbean Export. I am truly happy with the wonderful turnout today, with more than 400 participants from 36 countries attending this virtual launch. I promise you, today, this morning, or this afternoon, or this evening, wherever you are, that the actual event will be even better than this launch, because we are working with our partners to provide a platform for business to engage with business, to generate business. It is more about business, so less talk and fewer speeches. This means that I should set an example and end here. But before doing so, my thanks again to our partners and sponsors, and to you, the participants and members of the media. I very much look forward to seeing you in Port of Spain, and do visit the events website at caribbeaninvestmentforum.com to register. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Maharaj. Thank you for the kind compliment at the top of your speech. And I'm sure we'll work on the 5 or 6 languages when we see each other in Trinidad. And please put down my doubles, my pam sisi chow, and please ensure that I get my curry and my roti from St. James Street. But thank you so very much for that delivery and for reinforcing the importance of the Caribbean Investment Forum. Certainly my biggest takeaway from what you said is that resilience must be a priority for all of our countries, and that they must now prioritize, strategize, and implement ways to achieve this. You use the term forensic focus must be used on sectors that can drive this transformation. And you also spoke to driving the transformation, creating jobs and opportunities, increasing exports, and of course, attracting investments. So you're making it very clear that the Caribbean in particular, we are ripe and we're ready to do business and of course, to give returns. Now, we said earlier that the Caribbean Investment Forum is brought to you by the Caribbean Export Development Agency in support of the European Union. At this time, I'd like to invite His Excellency Peter Cavendish, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary Delegation of the European Union, to kindly bring his remarks, his partner remarks. Please welcome him.
Thank you very much indeed. And I wish to say I very much appreciate the introduction and the comments made so far. I shall begin to also say that all protocols are observed to our esteemed politicians, dignitaries, and other colleagues. I would like to say to potential investors that there are many positive points to signal about this wonderful and fantastic region. Of course, Europeans at this time, I wish to emphasize that Caribbean is a zone of peace. It is a zone of democracy. It is also a zone of vibrant nations. In particular, at this time of major conflict, the voices of the Caribbean have been raised in defense of democracy, in defense of the rules-based international order, and in defense also of fundamental human rights. These are also linked to the necessary framework to have a correct and full economic growth. The Caribbean is composed of vibrant nations which are active in all of the major economic sectors, be it we call it the blue, the green, or the orange sectors. And the Caribbean nations' policies are very naturally closely aligned with the EU's policies in areas such as the Green Deal, such as digitalization, economic growth and resilience, and in defending common democratic values. Consider these Caribbean nations, these vibrant nations that lie between the vast markets of North America and South America, and consider also their long associations with Europe. Consider the linking of the Caribbean and Atlantic with the Pacific Ocean through the Panama Canal, through which a huge percentage of world trade passes. Consider how the Caribbean is blessed with many outstanding features. As an example, only 1% of the world's tropical forests are cloud rainforests, and we have cloud rainforests here in the Caribbean. Only 1% in the world are cloud rainforests, and it is here in the Caribbean, but also all of that unique, wonderful ecosystem that supports and is supported by this outstanding natural feature. Dating from 1776, here in the Caribbean, we have the Tobago Main Ridge Forest Reserve. Consider that for more than nearly a quarter of a century, more than a quarter of a century, 250 years, we have this gigantic, fantastic nature reserve there being preserved for the future. The European Union has recognized many of the features of the Caribbean nations. We have amongst these nations the world's #1 cocoa genome, the world's #1 cocoa research center. We have one of only 2 multi-country, multi-campus universities in the world. We have a regional important maritime technology and cooperation center. And in addition, we also have the existence of vast energy potential. There are already the well-known vast reserves of oil and gas, but in addition, there is the potential for solar power, wind power, and tidal power generation, almost without parallel anywhere else in the world, to have such a combination of elements within this geographical zone. The European Union has invested in the Caribbean for a better part of half a century now, and it is happy to continue to invest in the Caribbean. As an example of how the European Union is planning for the future, I wish to cite Bella. Bella is the cable bridging the link between Europe and Latin America. The European Union has paid 56 million euros to extend a superconductivity highway from Portugal to Brazil. This was completed last year. There is now an active debate about shaping the future of this superconductivity information superhighway and as to where it will go next. Clearly, this will be an influence for the Caribbean nations, and we shall help those Caribbean nations who wish to be associated to that cable to frame their policies towards that information superhighway. This is not the only area in which the European Union is digitally engaged. Of course, digital and our knowledge-based economies for the future are going to be the fundamental wealth creators. I should point out that unlike other international actors, the European Union does not give loans to its partners. It gives grants, it gives the money. These are our friends and counterparts, and we give the money. And neither do we restrict those governments and counterparts who receive the aid in how they manage the aid through competitive processes. So they're allowed to use the contractors they consider will give the best value for money for the future. At this time, what is also new is that the European Union has launched the Global Gateway. Indicatively, this funding should reach 300 billion euros. For the first time, it will combine the European Union's funding with funds from the European Union Investment Bank. I should explain that the European Investment Bank is owned by the European member states and managed separately from the European Union's institutions. Not only can the European Union's main funds come together, we have the European Investment Bank, but there will also be the scope for private actors, private sector, commercial actors to become involved. As I mentioned, and I have to repeat, we give grants for the large part, and only in the case of the European Investment Bank, which is the world's oldest development bank, is there a loan. But that loan is on the basis of an organization that is constructed as not for profit. Money is, of course, very important. However, the technical expertise that the European Union can provide, be it through the institutions of the European Union or through the European Investment Bank, are of almost equivalent or greater importance. We are there also to transfer know-how to our counterparts and followers and counterparts who wish to join us in our ventures. I should explain that not only is the 300 billion through the Global Gateway going to be committed, but we also have 22.6 billion that we're spending on Erasmus education worldwide. Not only do we fund students from the Caribbean and elsewhere to go to Europe to study in 2 universities in 2 countries, we are now for the first time also building educational capacity in vocational and technical institutions, whereas historically this was universities. The idea is to have multipliers in universities, multipliers in vocational parties, multipliers in technical institutes for exchanges of know-how across the whole knowledge-based economy. 22.6 billion euros, and that is for now to 2027. This is not an insignificant sum of money. And again, these are grants, they're not loans. I would consider that the Caribbean Investment Forum, following the awful pandemic and the related economic fallout, is coming at exactly the right time. We have to underline from a European perspective the importance of the whole of the transatlantic alliance, as we call it. Clearly, our interests across the Atlantic North and South are more directly connected to us in many ways than other interests. We are also at this time for the Caribbean extremely pleased and happy to note the increasing linkages taking place between the Caribbean and Africa. We have many countries on the Atlantic, such as Nigeria, which have vibrant economies and where the growth potential is enormous. Consider that Nigeria, with the nation of more than 200 million people, is economically active in the Caribbean region and seeking to grow and prosper. Of course, Europeans wish to support these processes, and hopefully in the ultimate economic outcome, there can be a win-win for all parties involved. I think the timeline is fantastic from the point of view of the outreach that can be managed worldwide now that we're all looking for new ways of doing businesses. And ultimately, our objective is, of course, a smarter green economy, because that is what we need for all of us. I consider that perhaps we could quote Shakespeare at this point, that there is a tide in the affairs of men, which, taken at the flood, leads on to fortune. So, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you and all those who are going to participate to this forum the hope that we may all share in this fortune. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so very much, Your Excellency. I absolutely appreciate your message, simply because a lot of the times when persons refer to the small island developing states, they speak about our size being too small, our markets being too small. Some persons describe some of our islands as insular or prone to natural hazards, and yet still what you've done is you've actually highlighted some other areas, the areas that actually make us vibrant, speaking about democracy, freedom, the peaceful nature of our region, the protection of human rights, which is important to us, our vibrant cultures, that we are perfectly positioned geographically, the ecosystem, the natural habitats that we have the best universities, some of the best universities and research centers across the world, and that there is vast investment potential. Thank you for letting us know and for reinforcing that the Caribbean Investment Forum is absolutely timely, very, very relevant. And this is a perfect time for us to start exploring opportunities to do business and to create linkages and alliances. I truly appreciate your speech or your partner remarks. Thanks again. So we heard earlier from Mr. Maharaj about the date, November 8 to 11. It will be taking place in Trinidad and Tobago. We just heard of the importance of having this forum, but let us find out more about the Caribbean Investment Forum. Have a look.
Look around. Everything we see, it came to be because somebody decided they would build a better world and collaborate with people who share that dream, who have a vision of opportunity, whether that opportunity is seen or it is unseen. Just imagine a new frontier. Over 28 million people ready to champion your idea, ready for a solution. We can build smarter, greener islands that support and sustain the communities, the future. Islands that empower entrepreneurs and investors to pioneer the next generation of dreams. Meet us at the Hyatt Regency Hotel in Trinidad and Tobago, November 8th to 11th, where we explore some of the most attractive investment opportunities in technology, agriculture, renewable energy, and innovation. Register to build a smarter, greener region at the Caribbean Investment Forum. Visit our website at www.caribbeaninvestmentforum.com and secure your spot today.
Wow, what a beautiful promo video. I actually got goosebumps looking at all of that. And certainly I would like to take the opportunity to encourage you again, if you have not already gotten the tickets, please visit the website and secure your spot. So we learned a little bit more about the Caribbean Investment Forum, but we want to make it very clear. It is for you to discover bankable investment projects in the Caribbean, to establish your presence in the Caribbean, to expand your Caribbean footprint, to meet the highest level decision makers who can assist you with the possible partnerships and collaborations, and of course, realize the positive impact on your investment portfolio. At this time, I'd like to invite Dr. Dami Sinanam Manager, Competitiveness and Export Promotion, Caribbean Export Development Agency, to unpack the Caribbean Investment Forum. Please make him welcome.
Thank you so much, Dr. Reed. It certainly is a pleasure to be here this morning to speak about, and as my address on my presentation is noted, to unpack the Caribbean Investment Forum. I'd first like to say all protocols observed, and thank everyone for being and joining us online this morning. We really, really appreciate it, and we hope to see everyone in Trinidad and Tobago in November at the Hyatt Regency Hotel. So we heard a lot this morning from Dr. Reed and Ambassador Cavendish about resilience. The COVID-19 pandemic has taught us that it cannot be business as usual, not only in the Caribbean region, but globally. We have to think differently. We have to act differently. We have to diversify our economies. We have to focus on innovation. We have to focus on green energy. We have to build resilience and build sustainability because we don't know what the future holds for us. The Caribbean region is a very vulnerable region. Most of us are small island developing states. And pandemic aside, we are always impacted by natural disasters. We saw Hurricane Ian pass through the region, and we saw what it did to Florida. We are impacted by global economic crises. We saw what happened in 2008 and the impact that it had on tourism. And we know the Caribbean region is highly dependent on tourism. We are some of the most food insecure region in the world. We import most of our food stuff. We import most of our energy, and that just drives our costs up very high and has impacts not only cost-wise, but environmentally as well. So the purpose of the Caribbean Investment Forum is really focused on building resilience and sustainability through foreign direct investment, through partnerships, and through working together with businesses, not only within the region, but also extra-regionally as well. In terms of building resilience, we have to recognize that the Caribbean region has shown extreme resilience already throughout the pandemic. We were able to bounce back fairly quickly from the impact of the pandemic. And I attribute it to the resilience of our business and the resilience of our people. Growth in the region is projected to be very strong over the next year. In fact, UN-ECLAC projects that the region, economic growth in the region, will expand by 4.7% in 2022. That is by far the only sub-region in the Latin America and the Caribbean region to grow faster than it did in 2021. And this is excluding Guyana, because we all know Guyana is well poised and is forecast to grow by a whopping 52% in 2022. So we see that the building blocks are there. We are experiencing this growth. What we have to do is augment that growth through foreign direct investment. The Caribbean region also has strong competitive advantages. Ambassador Cavendish covered most of these very eloquently in his remarks, but I would just like to go over them. We have a very stable political climate. We have an educated population. We have access to cutting-edge technology, and we have an innovative people. In fact, when you come to Trinidad and Tobago, I'm preempting myself, but when you come to Trinidad and Tobago, in November, you will hear about some of the great work that our businesses, including small and medium-sized enterprises, are doing in the region. We have a willing government who is willing to support foreign direct investments, especially within the key sectors. And we have strong, supportive investment promotion agencies that can help you establish your business. So in short, the Caribbean is open for business. We welcome one and all, and not only outside of the region, but investors within the region. We will welcome you to Trinidad and Tobago to see what opportunities we have for investments in these specific sectors. Caribbean Export recognizes that we needed a strong platform to encourage investment, and the Caribbean Investment Forum is one such platform to get this done. It's going to be the largest, as Deodat noted, it's going to be the largest collection of business persons in the Caribbean region since the COVID-19 pandemic. And we recognize that once you bring business persons together, only good things can happen. So what is the purpose of this forum? As we noted, it is to attract investment in the priority sector. The priority sectors we will talk about later, but we're really focused on these priority sectors to support the transition for the region to a greener, smarter economy. These are the absolute necessary building blocks for us to continue to be resilient and to be competitive going forward. We have to reduce our cost and we have to increase our innovation. And foreign direct investment and business persons partnering with each other and building those scale and that economies of scale is absolutely necessary. We want to raise the visibility of the Caribbean as an investment destination. It's getting highly competitive out there in the investment world, in the global investment world. Other regions are thinking the same way the Caribbean region are thinking. Everybody wants to rebound from the COVID-19 pandemic and everybody is working hard to attract foreign direct investment. So the Caribbean cannot be left behind. We have to put our best foot forward to show what we have to offer so that the investor, the eager investor with the capital and the know-how and the projects can come to the Caribbean region and establish their business presence. So the purpose of the Caribbean Investment Forum is all about raising the visibility of the Caribbean as an investment destination. We also want to bring the regional investment community together to engage, because when business persons get together, everybody else just needs to step aside. Business persons will come together and they will do what's best for their businesses, and in turn that can have spillover effects, positive spillover effects for the Caribbean region. So we ultimately want to see business relationships constructed and grown between extra-regional investors and local businesses. Regional businesses, I should say. So you heard me say the word business quite often in that last slide. That is because the Caribbean Investment Forum is a business-focused event. And I want to reiterate that. It is a business-focused event. It's all good when you hear speeches and you hear promises. That is not our intention at the Caribbean Investment Forum. We want you to come to hear from business persons in the Caribbean region, to hear what they are doing, to hear the challenges that they experience, to hear how they overcome those challenges, to hear their strategy, and to hear what they have to offer. And we want to connect them with foreign direct investors. We are anticipating over 400 delegates, mostly made up of Caribbean business persons, foreign investors, and decision makers. There will be access to vetted investors at the Caribbean Investment Forum. Caribbean Export Development Agency, in collaboration with the European Union, has onboarded a consultant, OCO Global, to really work and scour the globe to identify keen foreign direct investors who are interested in the projects that we have in the Caribbean region. So we are expecting 40 to 60 foreign direct investors to be there in Trinidad and Tobago, and there will be an opportunity for business persons to link and meet with these foreign direct investors to share ideas, share thoughts, and come together, hopefully, and make business deals for the betterment of the Caribbean region. Our sectors of focus are primarily agri-technology, renewable energy, energy efficiency, ICT and digital business, as well as transport and logistics. We recognize that these sectors will lead to a more resilient Caribbean. Agri-technology primarily from the food security aspect. We need to ensure that the region is food secure because that contributes to resilience so that we can reduce our food import bill. And I make a reference to our colleagues, our partners at the CARICOM, who have their 25 in 25 project, which we will hear more about at the Caribbean Investment Forum. In terms of renewable energy and energy efficiency, as I noted, we have to reduce not only our cost of doing business in the Caribbean region, but we also have to look at our environmental sustainability. Many of us are small island developing states, and we are affected, whether we want to admit it or not, whether anybody else wants to admit it or not. We will be the first ones affected by global climate change. So we have to look at adopting cleaner energy, cleaner technology, and renewable sources. ICT and digital business, because that is the wave of the future. We hear about the fourth revolution. This is what is concerned with ICT and digital business. We have to ensure that we have an innovative people. We have people that we have projects and businesses that are on the cutting edge. So there needs to be heavy focus on ICT and digital business. And as the pandemic taught us, we have to make that shift into e-commerce. Because when you can no longer do business in person, as the pandemic showed us for a period of 2 years, the businesses that were able to thrive were those that had an e-commerce and an online presence. So we want to to encourage more of that going forward, with the CIF being a primary tool. And we have to focus on transport and logistics. That is absolutely necessary. One of the major issues is interconnectivity in the Caribbean region. Unfortunately, we know shipping costs are very high. This is just the reality. We know that getting persons in between islands can be somewhat cost prohibitive at this stage. Are there projects in place that investors can invest in that can reduce the costs and improve the efficiency of transport and logistics in the Caribbean region? That will go a long way into improving competitiveness and, according to our team, build a resilient, smarter, greener Caribbean. So why should you attend? That's what it boils down to at the end of the day. To those of you who I'm speaking to, why should you attend? One, you will have access to eager, vetted investors. As I noted, we have onboarded a lead generation consultancy to help identify investors and bring them to the Caribbean region. And Caribbean Export is supporting the investors to come. So by the end of this week, you will have, once you register on our website, you will have access to our business-to-business portal that will allow you to access these investors that we have identified and set meetings with these investors on the ground in Trinidad and Tobago. There's an opportunity for networking with regional stakeholders. So outside of regional foreign direct investors, there are many key partners in the region that are eager to do business. So Trinidad doing business with Jamaica, Dominica doing business with St. Lucia. This is the kind of cross-regional investments that we need to encourage. You will learn from the experience of the regional private sector leaders and global investors. So we will have a number of business persons who are doing great work in the region, across the region, and they are eager to share their experiences that you can learn from, and you can talk to them, and you can network and maybe form partnerships. And you can get access to important resources to aid your business. Caribbean Export, along with our partners, are planning a robust program of support that will happen around the Caribbean Investment Forum. So we're in discussion with our partners at Ernst & Young, at ITC, at PFAN, to really have a program of works that you can have access to that can help build your capacity and identify resources, financing resources and technical resources that can aid your business going forward. So what are we planning on the day? We have a number of wonderful sessions. If you log on to our website at CaribbeanInvestmentForum.com, you can see our agenda and our confirmed speakers. We are planning a panel on new markets, new investments for new times. And we have the Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area, Wamkele Mene, who will be delivering that feature address. We have a panel on positioning the Caribbean as an investment hotspot. We have a high-level CEO roundtable where we have champions of business from the Caribbean region who will participate in a panel and speak about their investment strategies in the region, including Digicel, including Proven Technologies, including Republic Bank Limited. These are just some of the high-level CEOs that will be on those panels. We have a session on paving the path of growth through disruptions. We will hear from disruptors in the Caribbean region who have new technologies and new projects that are changing the game in the region right now. We have Kieran White, who is the CEO of Return Protocol. We have Mr. Lance Hines from Guyana, CEO of Brain Street, who is doing great work not only on the ICT side, but also on the agribusiness side. We have investor panels focused on the 4 key sectors. So you will hear from foreign direct investors from each of the 4 key sectors that we identified below. We have a survival of the pitchest competition hosted by our partners, Draper Startup House and Caribbean Export, where you will have small and medium-sized enterprises who are pitching their projects to judges with the aim of winning a cash prize that they can inject into your business. So if you're a small and medium-sized enterprise and you want to take part, please reach out to Caribbean Export to learn how you can take part in this pitch competition. It's going to be very, very exciting, and they have an absolute wonderful lineup of judges that you can see when you log onto our website. We will have country pitches from the different investment promotion agencies of each country. So you can hear what projects each country specifically has to offer. There will be B2B meetings between investors and firms, as I alluded to below. And our colleagues and our partners at Invest TT Limited are organizing a program of site visits so you can see what projects are available in Trinidad and Tobago and visit some of their investment sites. So all in all, it's going to be a very fun and a very exciting and a very profitable 3 days that there will be lots to do and lots that can benefit your business. Just to speak about our speakers, this is just a snapshot of the high-level speakers that we have. We have, as I mentioned, His Excellency Wamkele Mene, who is the Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area. We have Dr. Nicholas Braffett, who is a founding managing partner of Celesta Capital, which is a major investment firm in Silicon Valley in San Francisco. I had the opportunity to have lunch with him last week, and he has a lot of good ideas and is seeking investments in the Caribbean region, exciting investments that you can come and take advantage of. We have Steven Snyder, who's the Managing Director for Partnerships and Operations from JetBlue Technologies. We have Jervey Warner, who is the President and Group CEO of Massey Holdings Limited. Dr. Ibukan Awasika, and I hope I didn't exercise my skills as a butcher there, who's the former of the First Bank of Nigeria. And we have Mr. Nigel Baptiste, who is the Managing Director of Republic Bank Limited. There's a QR code on your screen right now. If you scan it, you can go and see all our confirmed speakers for the event. And we have a number of them and a number of very high-profile persons. At this point, I'd also like to acknowledge our partners, the European Union, for providing funding in making sure that this program, this conference go forward. The Caribbean Association of Investment Promotion Agencies, the Ministry of Trade and Industry in Trinidad and Tobago, who have been an absolute wonderful partner. Republic Bank Limited, who became our first platinum sponsor, who came on board very early. The Caribbean Development Bank, the CARICOM, Ernst & Young, who joined us only this past week. Thoughtful Agency, who has all those wonderful graphics that you have seen and the videos, who have done great work. Draper Startup House, who will be hosting the pitch competition, as well as our investment promotion agencies, Invest Barbados, St. Kitts Investment Promotion Agency, Invest Turks and Caicos Islands, and Go Invest in Guyana. We anticipate more sponsors and more partners to come on board because our team is working very hard. And if you are interested in becoming a partner, please reach out to us via our website and via our contact information that you will see at the end of this presentation. I've said a lot about our partners, but I think I want our partners to speak for themselves. So what I'd like to do is to throw to a video where you will hear from our very important partners for the Caribbean Investment Forum.
The RFHL Group decided to partner with Caribbean Export on this forum because we share a common purpose. And that purpose is to promote the sustainable economic development of the Caribbean region, which is so important to the success of all of its inhabitants. I think I'm most looking forward to the event providing a lot of opportunities, particularly in the renewable energy space. The Republic Bank Group has made a very public commitment to renewable, sustainable energy, and I'm very hopeful that this forum will present a number of avenues for that commitment to be realized.
It is my hope that this Caribbean Investment Forum will not only raise the visibility of the region as an attractive investment destination, but that it will foster strategic relationships between potential investors, policymakers, and the private sector to facilitate increased investments in key sectors and to ultimately spur economic growth and diversification.
Hi, my name is Sekou Allen. I'm the president of Invest Trinidad and Tobago, and looking forward to working with the Caribbean Export Development Agency and the Ministry of Trade and Industry of Trinidad and Tobago in hosting the Caribbean Investment Forum. InvestTT is quite pleased to welcome its regional counterparts in raising awareness of the Caribbean as a sustainable investment destination. And further on, InvestTT looks forward to working and hosting investors that will be visiting Trinidad and Tobago so we can demonstrate the benefits of investing in Trinidad and Tobago as well as the wider region. We look forward to it and hope to see you there.
Hi, my name is Wade Hewitt, co-founder and Chief Relationship Officer at Draper Startup House. We're excited to partner with the Caribbean Export Development Agency in hosting the Caribbean Investment Forum, as we see developing the investment ecosystem as a key component towards a sustainable future of the Caribbean economy. We're looking forward mostly to the pitch competition that we'll be hosting in partnership with the forum, and we're really hoping to have exciting outcomes to startups and founders across the region to benefit from impactful investments. Thank you for this opportunity.
As a global advisory leader, particularly in the 5 pillars that CIF 2022 is focused on, partnering with Export Caribbean was naturally aligned to our purpose. We have invested in building the largest professional services footprint in the region and have a broad and deep understanding of the investment ecosystem. We are therefore looking forward to the matchmaking that CIF will bring to future-focused investors and transformative entrepreneurs. CIF 2022 will certainly redound to the social and economic development of our Caribbean region.
The ICT and digital business component of the Caribbean Investment Forum has really piqued our interest. As a digital marketing and technology company, our team at Thoughtful Digital Agency has had first-hand insights into the gaps and challenges in our region that can be addressed through digital transformation. We are proud to partner with the Caribbean Investment Forum as a conference that is leading the charge in building a smarter and, of course, greener Caribbean.
That was fantastic.
Thank you so much to our partners. And as I noted, if you want to come on board, reach out to us. We have an opportunity for additional partners. So I think there's nothing left to say, but see you in Trinidad and Tobago. We have a very, very special offer. As you know, we had early bird tickets, which were 40% off the normal price. The early bird specials ended on Friday. But for all of you who were so kind enough to join us for the launch, we are extending a very special offer. You can access the early bird tickets for 24 hours from this launch. So please log on to our website, CaribbeanInvestmentForum.com, to get your tickets at the special extended early bird price of $300 for the entire 3 days. I think for what I just outlined, you can see that that is an absolute bargain. So thank you so much, and I will turn you back over to our host, Dr. Reed.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Sinanan. I absolutely enjoyed your presentation, Unpacking the Caribbean Investment Forum. And thank you so very much to all the partners who took time out of, I'm certain they're very busy schedules, to just express why this kind of partnership in this investment forum was so needed. I just want to say, Dr. Sinanan, someone was fired up during your presentation and said, "Good morning. I'm so happy to be hearing this good news from the Caribbean community. We now going and see real climate action." And so that was really lovely to hear. But what you did was you reinforced what was said earlier. I think it was Mr. Haraj who said at the top of the program that this is not a talking, it's not something we're talking about. This investment forum is not a talk shop. And you came and you said we have to think and act differently. It cannot be business as usual. What I particularly liked about your presentation, Dr. Sinanan, is that you showed us how targeted it is. You want this Caribbean Investment Forum to be extremely strategic. And so you went ahead and you guys made sure that you narrowed down the key areas of focus. Then you got the right speakers, the right panelists, and the right moderators to drive those discussions. We're getting regional as well as global information. And so that rich exchange will teach us about the trends and what global investors are in fact looking for. You spoke about the access to vetted, which is a very important word, investors. And of course, you also spoke about the aid that businesses will get to make their businesses more attractive. So again, for those of you who are tuning in right now, the early bird special lasts for the next 24 hours. And as Dr. Sinanan just outlined, you're definitely getting good bang for your buck, and it would certainly be an investment. So thank you again for that great presentation. Now, I just wanted to make mention for those of you who may not be aware, is that as one of the frontline ministries within the government of Trinidad and Tobago, the Ministry of Trade and Industry is leading the drive to position Trinidad and Tobago as a manufacturing base and the business, trade, and financial hub of the Americas. The ministry's core responsibility is to grow trade, business, and investment, particularly through driving the non-energy sectors of the economy. And we know that as much as the private sector wants to come together to speak about business, without the government actually being a driving force behind these discussions where policy is concerned, really nothing truly happens. And so we want to thank the minister and of course the Ministry of Trade and Industry of Trinidad and Tobago for being major, not just endorsers, but actions and actors within this ecosystem. At this time, we're going to move to question and answers, and we would like to encourage those of you who are watching, whether you're on Zoom, YouTube, or watching on any other platform such as Facebook, to kindly submit your questions so that we can get the panelists to respond to them respectively. I saw somebody saying that they're from Haiti. Hi, bonjour, welcome, bienvenue, Kijanouye, and I see someone from the Commonwealth of Dominica. Welcome again. So let me start with the questions. Your Excellency, I will ask you the first one until I see some more questions come in from the chat. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. So the EU, as you had mentioned earlier, has played a significant role in promoting investment into developing countries. For the Caribbean, besides supporting the Caribbean Investment Forum, are there any other interventions you would like to share with the audience today?
Well, of course, in fact, we have been intervening in many areas and many arenas. We've been using webinars now to promote specific business sectors, such as we've done webinars on cocoa, to bring cocoa investment into this country. We've done webinars on maritime events, and we're going to do webinars in the future on tourism. So there's a direct input by the EU itself. We do have our Support for Innovation Fund across the world, in fact, and we announce the support periodically. We call for applications, or call for applications open. In the case of this country where I'm located, Trinidad and Tobago, we've just launched calls for applications with grants of up to 75,000 euros for companies of up to the small to medium size, and for the larger companies, grants up to €250,000. As I repeat, these are grants. We don't do loans, but of course the counterpart organizations have to bring capital of their own into play. But the Support for Innovation funds are worldwide, where we're working with our countries who are in our international partnerships. We used to call them developing partnerships, but now they're international partnerships. We do make Support for Innovation funds available. And some very exciting, and I'm not overusing the word, some very exciting young business people have come up, men and women, who I believe, honestly, I'm not allowed to invest myself in their companies, but if I was an investor, I'd be seriously talking to some of these people. It ranges from the chocolate industry to the renewable recyclable plastics industry, to the digital identity industry, and the wealth of talent that is coming up in this area is very, very surprising. With what we've already seen, and I believe what we're going to see, we will see companies coming out of here that will certainly be in the middle rank of companies in the near to medium term, and who knows, some of them may be the next giants. But the Support for Innovation funds, check out the EU delegations websites wherever you are. If not, ping an email in to me and I'll get one of my colleagues to answer you. That is one example of where we're investing. We're also investing in education. In the Caribbean alone, we have in the region of about 15 million in funds to go into universities, vocational colleges, technical colleges, to try and build the knowledge base here in the society. It's an amazingly dynamic and vibrant society here. And honestly, I'm amazed at the human capital that's already here. When I engage with business leaders in this country, they are spontaneously talking about corporate social responsibility, the idea of giving back to communities, of educating young people across the region. I mean, the quality of the business management here is second to none. The way in which they are engaged, the way in which they are trying to plan for the future, the way in which they are mindful of matters abroad. I honestly, in my 40 years plus of work, I've never seen such a coherent group of statements made across the business sector about the need for, environmental standards, social standards, good governance, and the engagement with the communities. I think we can all be very optimistic that the business community is not going to be passive or bystanders in the way in which the new economy is going to meet the non-commercial elements. Their wider responsibilities are fully recognized by these people, and really, I'm very pleased by that.
No, we're extremely pleased for your continued support. I know that the EU does a lot of work here in Jamaica, and we have a lot of businesses, small, going all the way up to medium size, who have spoken about the not only the need for the grants, but when they get the grants, what they're able to actually do by also creating other jobs within their communities and empowering community members as well. So thank you so very much for that. I'm sure that what you just said was quite instructive. I do believe we have persons who have businesses, small businesses, who might be very interested in finding out how they can possibly access grants once they meet the criteria of the particular grant. So thank you so very much for that. I'm going to pose a question to Dr. Sinanan. It comes from, I believe, Cyan Coffee and or Shan Coffee. And the question is for the pitches. I believe it was Dr. Sinanan who spoke about the component, the pitch component. The question for the pitches for SMEs, would the investors provide feedback only, or would they be in a position to provide investment or pursue the discussion? Dr. Sinanan, over to you.
Yes, I think at this point they will provide feedback on the different pitches, but we have investors in the room. So if an investor will be in the room and they like what they hear, then there's the opportunity to carry it further on for actual investments. But the purpose of the pitch competition is, like I said, it's a pitch competition. There'll be a cash prize for the winner. There'll be an opportunity to get feedback from high-level investors on the project. But I mean, if these investors hear something that they like, I think there's an opportunity to at least begin discussions on actual investments.
Fantastic. I also see someone saying, I am a Trinidadian citizen running a tech startup in HK focused on green energy and agri or agri-tech. Is the forum looking at Asian-based investors as well?
Absolutely. Asian-based investors is one of our target markets. So yes, there's absolutely. And that person, that sounds like the ideal person to be at our forum. An ag-tech firm using ICT technology and renewable energy. That covers 3 of the 4 bases right there.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much. I'm going to move across to Mr. Maharaj. And again, for persons who may be wondering where they can get their tickets, visit the website, caribbeaninvestmentforum.com. Please understand that you only have the next 24 hours to actually get your early bird tickets. And I suggest you do it either now or right at the end of this discussion. So Mr. Maharaj, the Caribbean Investment Forum is seeking to focus attention on new sectors of priority for the Caribbean that can lead to the transformation of our economies. What is the vision of the Caribbean export in terms of the sectors that you believe can spur that transformation?
Yeah. I think Caribbean people clearly understand that business as usual, as Demi said earlier, will not and cannot work. We need to create opportunity and hope and concretely well-paying jobs for our people. The question arises, what we need to do to take us there. As the most climate vulnerable region on the planet, together with the Pacific, we need to do a green economy transition. And it's not an option, it is an imperative. But doing a green economy transition is not just about going green. There are immense business opportunities for going green. As I indicated earlier, the ILO, the International Labour Organization, and the Inter-American Development Bank in their study projected that there will be an additional 400,000 jobs created through a green economy transition. Ag-tech, as one of the most food insecure regions on the planet, agriculture is a very viable industry and business and enterprise for the Caribbean. And why am I saying that? Because when we think about the Caribbean, we think about Trinidad and Tobago, 1.3 million people, or Guyana, 750,000, or St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua with small populations. But when you put the Caribbean together, which is one free trade area, including the Dominican Republic, we are talking about a market of 29.2 million people. But let's go a bit further. In 2019, we had a record number of tourist arrivals. We had an estimated 31 to 32 million people as stayover visitors in the Caribbean. So when you add that 30 million, and you add almost 30 million in terms of people who live in the region, we are talking about a market, whether you want to go into livestock or poultry, a market of 60 million. Also for investors, they need to recognize as well that the Caribbean, we have free trade agreements with Costa Rica, with Colombia, Caribbean with Canada, access to the American market, the economic partnership agreement with the European Union, meaning just with the European Union, a high-end market of 500 million people. So one, that green economy transition imperative, agriculture too, and Demi spoke about e-commerce and digitalization and technology. So our vision at the Caribbean Export Development Agency is not a vision to tinker around the periphery, but to advance and drive transformation, taking advantage of the immense creativity and talent and skills and opportunities of the Caribbean. And why are we doing this? To create jobs and opportunity for Caribbean people. Our people don't deserve less. And we at the Caribbean Export Development Agency, together with our partners, we heard Nigel Batiste, our partner from the Republic Bank Limited, and Republic Bank Limited is a $1 billion institution established in Africa as well, that they see that green economy transition as an essential building block and one of the reasons why they are partnering with us. So we are immensely excited about this inaugural Caribbean Investment Forum, because at the end of the day, we understand clearly this is not about an abstract conceptual event. It's about creating jobs and opportunity for our people. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate that. You really saying that this is not an option. Speaking about building sustainability, viability, resilience, it is no longer an option or something we should think about, but it is absolutely imperative. And we need all the actors, all the key stakeholders to be at the Caribbean Investment Forum. Now, earlier, I had said that whenever it comes to these kinds of high-level decision-making and conversations between private sector and businesses, policy is really important, and having the support of the government and that sector, that ministerial portfolio that is in charge of that particular industry is absolutely imperative. And when we look at the Ministry of Trade and Industry in the Trinidad of Trinidad and Tobago, we get just that, not just here to talk about it, but actually here to walk the walk. We're so pleased to welcome Senator the Honorable Paula Gopi Schoon, Minister of Trade and Industry, Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you so very much. I know that you were doing your budget. I know the discussions are quite uncertain, but we're so grateful that you were able to make it to the launch of the Caribbean Investment Forum. Over to you.
Thank you so very much, and I love your effervescence, Dr. Reed. So it really is my pleasure to participate in this launch of the 2022 Caribbean Investment Forum. We're all excited about it. Trinidad and Tobago is pleased to be the host country on behalf of the region of this year's event, focused on building a smarter, a greener Caribbean in which innovators and investors and institutions from across the globe will come together to create real, sustainable, and profitable partnerships. And this event is unique, and it has been spearheaded by none other than Caribbean Export Development Agency, really, which has been an indispensable partner to the government of Trinidad and Tobago in the preparations. Very importantly, I would like to acknowledge the key involvement of the European Union as well in this undertaking, and the financial and technical support provided by the European Development Fund. I also wish to recognize the contributions of the CARICOM Secretariat, the Caribbean Development Bank, the Caribbean Association of Investment Promotion Agencies, and the corporate sponsors who have all played integral roles in getting us where we want to be. So this forum is truly a regional event, that will have at its core the private sector and entrepreneurs whose ideas and expertise and capital we envisage will result in ultimately intangible, sustainable projects across the region. There is an urgent need for countries across the globe to transition to greener and smarter economies. And for small island developing states, those of us in the region, in the Caribbean, policies that balance economic growth, environmental stewardship, and technological advancements are key to sustainable and equitable growth. And while we face a unique set of challenges, there are also numerous opportunities through which to create new avenues for growth in our region. Our location, accessibility, openness, stability, and linguistic and cultural diversity have often been the characteristics that have drawn people from across the globe seeking peace and respite. But these, together with a well-educated population and competitive rates and incentives, are equally important for those seeking a solid return on any investment. The Caribbean Investment Forum is our window to the world, and we look forward to welcoming investors and business executives who wish to strengthen and diversify their products in the areas such as agro-processing, agri-tech, renewable energy, the blue and green economies, logistics and transportation, and the digital economy. And despite the turbulent past and to some extent the present, there are signs that the world is recovering. And according to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, preliminary estimates for Q1 2022 show global FDI flows continuing their upward trajectory, increasing by 28% compared to Q4 2021, when it was just 535 billion. In fact, global FDI flows reached their highest quarterly level in the past 5 years. And as a result, many foresee 2022 as a critical year in which the imbalances wrought by the pandemic will likely begin to resolve, led by a continuation of trends towards greater innovation, increased localization and nearshoring, and intensified decarbonization. And some of these positive changes can also be seen domestically, and I'll tell you a little bit about what's happening in Trinidad and Tobago. Our Ministry of Finance estimates that real economic activity in Trinidad and Tobago will grow by 2% in 2022, resulting in per capita GDP reaching US $19,500 in September 22. So Trinidad and Tobago's debt to GDP ratio has been significantly reduced, and our credit rating has improved to a stable outlook. And this has led to increased inward investment flows, especially in the areas of business process outsourcing, manufacturing, and renewable energy, among others. And although investment flows are still dominated by developed and large developing nations, there are signs of change in the region. And companies and governments across the Caribbean are improving and digitizing their services and their processes. Firms of all sizes are moving their businesses to the region, which is now the de facto gateway to the America. And given our abundance of and our potential for renewable energy adoption and innovation, we will soon become the frontier of the greener world. And to meet the goals of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the Paris Agreement and the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, the international community needs to implement ambitious and mutually reinforcing reforms. And investment is pivotal for sustained and sustainable growth and a prerequisite for an accelerated green and digital transition. And this is the driving force behind our efforts to make November's forum a memorable and impactful one. There have been several initiatives, both at the regional and local levels, to aid in the post-pandemic recovery and deal with the fundamental issues such as climate change and digitalization. And the CARICOM energy policy, for example, seeks to promote a shift towards greater utilization of sustainable and renewable energy, which is further articulated in the Caribbean Sustainable Energy Roadmap and Strategy. And this is coupled by efforts to accelerate regional digital transformation, as outlined in the CARICOM Digital Development Strategy and Signal ICT Space Workplace, and more recently, with the establishment of a digital skills task force. Countries, too, are taking steps to build more resilient economies and populations. And Trinidad and Tobago, for instance, is making significant strides to diversify and digitalize our economy and create an investment environment that is founded on transparency and efficiency and openness. And there's a strong thrust to advance renewable energy, including the development of solar voltaic energy and low carbon hydrogen, guided by a renewable energy policy to enable us to meet our commitment and the target of 30% renewable energy by 2030. The government has also identified a digital society as our foremost priority, which brings together a citizen-centric digital economy, digital government for improved delivery of services, and making Trinidad and Tobago a cashless society, as we all should be. And to facilitate companies and their investments, the government is preparing to establish its new Special Economic Zones Authority, which is expected to be operationalized very early in 2023. And this will be an attractive benefit for those operating within the SEZ, whether it's a free port or a free trade zone or an industrial park or a specialized zone or a development zone or as a single zone enterprise. So that SEZ regime, which Jamaica has and which performs really beautifully, will focus on strategic areas including renewable energy, manufacturing, agriculture and agro-processing, creative industries, and ICTs, among others. So that InvestTT, our National Investment Promotion Agency, is leading the charge, and they are responsible for facilitating all of the B2B meetings during the forum and the site visits to some of the country's most promising investment opportunities. So I think I've said a lot. As I conclude, I want to say that the Caribbean Investment Forum creates a very unique opportunity for investors to bring together capital with ideas and shovel-ready projects that will undoubtedly redound to the benefit of all of us, all of our countries that are involved. And this forum promises to be rich in its daily offerings, given the stellar list of presenters and participants of global reach. The Caribbean is open for business. Our teams are ready, and we look forward to welcoming all of you to Trinidad and Tobago in November to see the rest of the region. And I'm confident that your participation will culminate in beneficial arrangements and partnerships for all concerned. I want to thank you very much. And again, I apologize for my lateness in my arrival on account of Parliament. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Minister. Nothing to apologize for. They say that the reward for good work is more work, and we absolutely understand. Now, with all my research, I took the opportunity to read up about you, and certainly everyone speaks about your efficiency, the effectiveness, the strategic thinker that you are. But no one told me that you are a clairvoyant, because the questions that I actually had for you was, how would the Caribbean Investment Forum be beneficial in terms of the investment opportunities that are available? And then I also want to know the priorities of Trinidad and Tobago. And you basically, in your delivery, spoke about, Trinidad and Tobago wanting to be a digital society, a green society, a smart society, a cashless society. And you spoke about the increase in trade, improving efficiency, creating jobs, having Trinidad become a manufacturing base and a financial hub. And I just want to thank you so very much for that. My only question, therefore, is what advice do you have? Because you may have some islands that are ready, they're putting in the necessary investments, the resources, they're trying to implement as best as possible. They're trying to find the right key stakeholders, but you might have some islands that are still a little bit hesitant, fearful of these uncertain times, but also slow to change. What is your advice for our neighboring islands that might still be tinkering on the fence where it comes to building resilience through change, innovation, agri-tech, and so on and so forth?
And the answer could only be in the collective, because we all belong to one region. And Trinidad and Tobago may be advanced in one way and Jamaica may be in another. I could tell you we're following on Jamaica's steps with the Special Economic Zone Authority. I could tell you as we turn now to our new Trade and Investment Promotion Agency, Jamaica's agency has been so helpful to us. So we turn to each other, we work collectively, and I must give praise as well to CARICOM for the very recent initiatives, more recent initiatives on services, which I know is integral to many of the other territories in the region that have not advanced in manufacturing and some of the other areas, and energy and so on. They improve the collective, the policy making at the level of CARICOM, again, is healthy. And I think what is important is the collective responsibility, the collective action, looking at the work that each of us do, and the commitment not just to drive our own economies, but to drive the economy of the region.
Thank you.
So it's a collective.
Very, very well said. And I think if it's anything COVID-19 has shown us in the world overall, is that we are nothing without each other. And the actions of one, it affects the other. And so certainly if we can have that rich exchange where we're willing to share that knowledge and to share processes and systems, then we all benefit. Thank you so very much, Minister. And I look forward to meeting you in Trinidad and Tobago. Please make sure that you have some doubles put down for me. I would appreciate it greatly. Continue to do the fantastic work that you do.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. No problem. So, so the minister might have missed earlier when we welcomed people from all over the world, and I'm seeing persons in the chat from Cameroon, Jamaica, UAE, St. Lucia, Dominica, Barbados, Hong Kong, Washington, DC. Thank you so very much for being here. We truly are an international community, and that is what the Caribbean Investment Forum is all about, actually getting the right players and actors, investors, from every corner of the globe to interact with businesses that are aligned. And so with that, I saw some questions, but I know that they're best answered at the Caribbean Investment Forum. I saw an attendee say that it was so easy to click on the link at the website, caribbeaninvestmentforum.com, which is also one of the key sectors we're speaking about, right? Digital business, innovation, technology, e-commerce, being able to sell goods and services in a very efficient and digital manner. So again, the early bird specials last only for another 24 hours. And so for those of you asking about transport, digital business, and you want to network or get access to investors and funding and grants, then certainly please go ahead and ensure that you secure your spot. So the minister has spoken, which brings us to the end of this forum. However, we cannot leave without our closing remarks. I invite at this time Franca Costello, chairperson at InvestTT, to kindly do us the honors. Please welcome her.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Allow me to close with proper salutations. Senator, the Honorable Paula Kopi-Schoon, Minister of Trade and Industry, His Excellency Peter Cavendish, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary, Delegation of the European Union, Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Deodat Maharaj, Executive Director, Caribbean Export Development Agency, Mr. Demi Sinanan, Manager Competitiveness and Export Promotion, Caribbean Export Development Agency, Dr. Terry Carell-Reid, our host this morning, Investment Promotion Agency representatives, participants, and media. As chairman of InvestTT, the National Investment Promotion Agency of Trinidad and Tobago, and the host IP for the 2022 Caribbean Investment Forum, I would like to congratulate the Ministry of Trade and Industry of Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean Export Development Agency for their partnership on initiating this landmark initiative, and welcome our 300 plus participants this morning, and thank you for all of your insightful questions. This event is timely as it seeks to raise international awareness of the Caribbean collectively as a lucrative investment region for growing, diversifying businesses and future strategists. This important event will highlight the unique advantages of each island and that of the region as a whole. While we may be small alone, we are a force together with over 44 million people in the Caribbean and a $60 billion GDP. InvestCT recognizes an investment in the Caribbean is a win for one as it is for all collectively. Strengthening our capacity as a region, as stressed by our Minister Gopi Schoon, it is the collective. Our speakers this morning have highlighted that the Caribbean is well positioned as the ideal investment location with diversified investment opportunities in tourism, agro-processing, agri-technology, light manufacturing, maritime, logistics, and distribution, BPOs, renewable energy, ICT, and digital. There is so much more to be developed here. Recognizing that money goes where it is best treated, our speakers have ideally given you the lay of the land of the Caribbean's competitive advantages for foreign direct investors. To reiterate some points, our geographical footprint of the archipelago makes the Caribbean a favored site for hotel developers, cruise lines, maritime, and the entertainment business, because we are the best at having fun. In a similar manner, the Caribbean's access to 1.5 billion people in the Caribbean and Central South America opens up new market penetration strategies. But access is realized not just through logistics, but via trade agreements, skilled workforce, and supportive government environments, of which each island has a unique offering. Foreign investors consistently praise the ingenuity of the Caribbean people and how well educated our workforce is, testament to the universities throughout the islands. As Caribbean people, we are most passionate about where we come from and what we have to offer. Our culture and heritage runs deep within our blood and family lines, and within that, our islands are blessed with a patriotic, active international diaspora network throughout the world. They are the avid advocates and promoters of our islands and our realm's unique value add. Our special note of acknowledgement to His Excellency Peter Cavendish, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary, Delegation of the European Union, for his strong endorsement of all things Caribbean and his passion to work with the various agencies to see our region develop and reach the world through his linkages. While COVID-19 certainly did have its impact, research has shown that investor confidence is growing and providing us with a myriad of opportunities to capture rejuvenated interest in the Caribbean destinations. But according to FDI Intelligence, a service from the Financial Times, the FDI index, which tracks the sentiments of investors, increased by 28.2% points from the last year. On behalf of InvestCT, I would like to thank our fabulous host, Dr. Terry Carroll Reed. You will certainly have your doubles as you land in Sweet T&T. To the participating investment promotion agencies, our sponsors, participants, and media, we thank you for your support of this forum and its planning and execution stages. Your contribution to the forum will ensure that it is a robust platform from which awareness of investment and business opportunities in the region can be raised, as we all seek to leverage the upswing in investor confidence to land more projects for the region. As a host investment promotion agency, we look forward to welcoming our regional investment promotion counterparts to Trinidad and Tobago as we seek to collaborate on the provision of a results-oriented Caribbean investor experience. Once again, I'd like to thank the partners and organizers of the Caribbean Investment Forum, in particular, the Senator, Honorable Paula Gopi Schoon, a champion of business, His Excellency Peter Cavendish, Mr. Demi Sinanan, and Mr. Deodat Maharaj, for their astute efforts to provide an environment for regional business leaders to meet with investors to discuss projects which have the potential to transform and revolutionize the Caribbean economy. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending the launch of the Caribbean Investment Forum, scheduled for November 8th to 11th at the Hyatt Regency in Trinidad and Tobago, and for the quote that Mr. Sinan, the largest collection of business persons We will welcome over 36 countries, 100 investors, and 500 participants. This is just one of many milestones to building a more resilient, smarter, and greener Caribbean. As Mr. Sinan said, the Caribbean is open for business. Thank you.
Thank you. What a brilliant closing. Thank you for your kind compliment. I will hold you to the doubles. But thank you. You mentioned something. Money goes where it is best treated. And I thought that that statement alone spoke volumes. And I just want to thank you. Of course, we just want to do a quick shout out. I understand London is in the building. Ghana is in the building. Paris, bienvenue, bonjour, c'est un plaisir. It is a pleasure. Thank you for spending your morning with us, ladies and gentlemen. I don't even know what the time zone is right now in London and Cameroon and Hong Kong and all the places that were mentioned earlier. But thank you for that level of commitment to attending the launch of the Caribbean Investment Forum. Again, the theme, building a smarter, greener Caribbean, certainly a theme that we look forward to. It is in person. I see a lot of persons asking that question in the chat. This is an in-person event in the beautiful Trinidad and Tobago. Is taking place at the Hyatt Regency, November 8th to 11. Again, great speakers, great panelists. If you haven't already gotten your ticket, go ahead and visit CaribbeanInvestmentForum.com. You will get 40% off your early birds within the 24 hours. After that, you will pay full price. Again, for those of you who might be interested in becoming partners, we have some fantastic partners who are also benefiting from the Caribbean Investment Forum. If you are interested, please go ahead, visit the website and contact the respective individuals. It has been a pleasure. We've learned a lot, see a lot of different businesses in the chat. This kind of forum, this kind of ecosystem is for you. Bring your business, bring your questions, come and learn, come and access the other investors and see where we can take your business. I look forward to serving you next month in Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you so very much. Be safe and all the best. Take care.
Look around. Everything we see, it came to be because somebody decided they would build a better world and collaborate with people who share that dream, who have a vision of opportunity, whether that opportunity is seen or it is unseen. Just imagine a new frontier. Over 28 million people ready to champion your idea, ready for a solution. We can build smarter, greener islands that support and sustain the communities, the future. Islands that empower entrepreneurs and investors to pioneer the next generation of dreams. Meet us at the Hyatt Regency Hotel in Trinidad and Tobago, November 8th to 11th, where we explore some of the most attractive investment opportunities in technology, agriculture, renewable energy, and innovation. Register to build a smarter, greener region at the Caribbean Investment Forum. Visit our website at www.caribbeaninvestmentforum.com and secure your spot today.